Hi there, Editor Bo here, making a rare appearance. Just wanted to tell you about a comic that both Dustin and Bo were fortunate enough to get to read and review the first issue of. It's called Wild Embers, and it's by a writer and illustrator team by the name of Dalia and Sam. Great comic. Has a great Ready Player One meets Da Vinci Code type of vibe to it. Beautiful artwork. Takes off the moment you start reading it and doesn't let up until the cliffhanger ending that once you wanted more. So go and check out that first issue. I will leave links in the description below. And with that said, on with the very cool event that we have. We have a very special guest and also a very special treat at the end of the episode. So stick around and listen for that. Thanks.
Welcome to another episode of Geek-Men and the Masters of the Thunder Nerds. I'm Dustin.
I am Bo.
And this is the podcast that talks about all the things you love.
Without all the hate.
That's right. And tonight, we are doing a very special episode with someone we've been hanging out with and actually been on his show a couple times. And Bo, introduce our guest.
Well, I think this one's been a long time coming, I think. Mm-hmm. So one of our biggest supporters, if not our biggest supporter.
Yeah, probably our first and only listener for a long time. No.
Hey. It's all right, guys. Hey.
See, everybody knows that voice. He's probably one of the the cult underground podcasters of the community. Everybody knows one Mr. Jesse Deadman of Deadman's Tome.
That's
How you doing,
cool,
Jesse?
Man. I have no idea that people know me. You know, you guys might have one listener. I might have two listeners. Look at that. No. But yeah, man, I totally love what you guys are doing. It's right from the beginning. I think when you announced it, I was excited about it because you could tell me about a show that you're talking about, you know, geek things, nerd things, which there's a lot of shows like that. But you're going to cut out the drama. You're going to cut out the bashing, which. Look, I listen to a lot of stuff on YouTube, and they're entertaining. Don't get me wrong, but it's like, okay, they're just bashing this, bashing that. It's Look, I get it. Not everybody likes the new Star Wars. I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah, there's too many podcasts about it, man.
Yeah, you even got worked up to the point where you ripped your shirt off, trying to get more content.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. I was feeling heated that day. I was like, man, I was close. I almost ripped this shirt off too, and it's a Batman shirt. It's Batman Day. You know, I don't want to.
Right.
That's sacrilegious, right? If I rip a Batman shirt on Batman Day, I burn in hell for that.
Maybe.
Batman hell.
Yeah.
It's like the worst hell, where he just breaks stuff and he doesn't kill you.
Yeah, I mean, you can't even say Arkham Asylum because that place released you just about every other weekend, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be
the worst security ever. Seriously.
Yeah. Doctors, not so great.
Yeah, then they switched to Blackgate? Like, that's one thing that I don't know, maybe I just didn't read enough, but at what point do you go from Arkham to Blackgate? Was it just your power level? Was it just the city?
You know what?
I don't know.
Okay.
I just noticed that all of a sudden they're like, oh, this person's in Blackgate. Well, okay, sure, whatever.
So what is Blackgate?
It's just another prison.
Yeah, it's just like the prison for it's like non-mentally ill. Like Penguin is more Blackgate.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so
what?
Okay, so Blackgate Prison,
really
Arkham Asylum. Okay, so that's the difference. It's like, okay, you're crazy and you're doing it on purpose. You can't plead insanity. You're just going straight to prison. Whereas
the Riddler has a neurosis, so he goes to Arkham.
Okay.
He has like a obsessive compulsive, and Two-Face has bipolar,
right.
And so and Joker is just whatever he is. So he's clearly deranged, or not. That's always debatable.
Blackgate. I don't know.
Yeah, right. You run the show over there. See, this is why I like this podcast. Well, I like to consider myself a geek or a nerd. I don't really care about the labels. They are what they are. But while I like to consider myself that, there's so much that I don't know because, I only invested so much time that I enjoy this podcast for that reason. Like, there was an episode I listened to. I think you guys did like 2 or 3 of them on the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah,
I was a huge fan of the cartoon. Huge fan of the cartoon. I had no idea that there was a comic. Had zero, because when my first exposure to the Ninja Turtles was the cartoon. Yeah. I was at daycare and they were playing I think the episode was the one where the rock aliens were there, and the Elven, you know what I'm talking about, right? The Elven hover car people that were there, and they're
neutrinos.
Like, okay, yeah, those people. So they were playing that. I was enjoying it, and that's boom. I wanted more Ninja Turtles. So I got the games, got the action figures, got the exposure to the cartoon, to the movies, but had no idea a comic existed.
Yeah. Yep, that's where it started, and the IDW run right now is so good. I'm so far behind, but it's still good.
Yeah, and to talk about Batman, they're still doing more issues of the crossover with the Ninja Turtles with Batman, right?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, and they just released the animated Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossover movie, animated movie.
Very good.
When?
Oh, it's out. You can just buy it. You can rent it, dude. It's really good.
Yeah, it was like
a
couple months ago. It was really good.
Oh, just a couple months ago. See, look, I'm so far behind.
Yeah.
Man. You want to see Batman fight the Shredder, or Leonardo fight Ra's al Ghul, or Ra's al Ghul. It's so good.
Interesting. Batman's going to fight the Shredder, but he's not going to... Shredder's like a top level. Actually, no, I got to...
It's a good fight, man.
It is. It's a good fight.
It's a good fight.
And I wouldn't say that either one of them won.
Yeah. They
fought each other to a standstill, I would say.
I don't know. I got to think about this one. Because we got the Shredder, right? Who gets bested by 4 Ninja Turtles each and every time. And it's so... Like, especially the cartoons. I don't know about in the comic, but in the cartoons, his relationship with Krang is like so hilarious. It's like, dude, you guys are so incompetent.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Batman can easily take out that Shredder, but this is like the comic book, like hardcore, ninja Shredder.
Okay. See, now I need to read the comics.
Hey, Master.
Tell me the Shredder in the comics is much more fierce than the Shredder in the cartoon.
Yeah, like in the cartoon, there was never really an episode where you felt like, oh man, Shredder almost won that episode, right?
Yeah.
So the same thing, it's the exact opposite in the comics. Like, the stakes are a completely different level. Like, there's full-on murder. Like, in the original run. Wow. In the original run, that's what Splinter was training them to do. They're being trained to be assassins to kill the Shredder.
Yeah, it's a giant revenge story. It's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. And then in the IDW run, like, at one point, I mean, this is out there all over the place. Spoilers. Donatello dies at one point. And he's
he resurrected?
Well, I don't know the specifics, but yeah, it sounds like he's back.
Oh.
But yeah, there's full-on serious stakes are high, basically.
That's actually a pretty good. I would watch that movie for Halloween. I would say that's a pretty fun Halloween movie to watch.
I gotta check that one out.
Ninja Turtles, Batman crossover.
Yeah,
it's very good. But going back to what you said about like,
go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say like that's what the point of the show is about. Like everybody's got a different geekdom. Like we had a guest on we talked about music, how music's a geekdom, and
Mm-hmm.
with you, horror is a big geekdom, and everybody's got their own thing, so it doesn't necessarily, like, if you're a geek or a nerd, it doesn't mean you have to be into comics or you have to be into D&D or any of these other things. It could just be about anything, really.
Yep. And there's so much stuff out there to consume.
And you guys are right, man. Everyone has their geekdom, you know. Even the supposed another label, jocks, you know.
I've always
their obsession is with sports. I mean, how fantasy sports is a big thing now, and what that is pretty much just
D&D
come on now. You're just role playing sports now at this point.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, my fantasy team.
Everyone has their passion.
Right now.
Everyone has their thing. Okay. Yeah, I respect that. So I guess you guys want to know what mine is.
What?
Yeah, like what was the thing about, I've always wanted to know this. When did you start the podcast and the publishing house, and why did you focus on horror? What was it about that you decided, like, I got to do this?
Man, now that's a lot of stuff. Well, I think 2006, 2007 is when I started Deadman's Tome. I don't remember the exact year. Actually, the exact date of the very first issue, I think, was 2007, 2008, if I'm not mistaken. It's still there on Kindle. You know, I got to just check just to make sure. But I did that. You know, the reason why I wanted to get into horror and get into writing and all that is it might sound like a weird path. Okay. I'll go out and say, you know, lead with your mistakes, with your faults. Look, growing up as a kid, I was not the avid reader. I was not the guy who'd be reading all the novels and the books. In fact, I was the guy who would do anything other. I'd rather play video games. I'd rather watch TV, watch movies, listen to music, listen to the radio. You know, I was that kid growing up. Right. You know, whatever it be, severe ADD, ADHD, whatever. I just could not sit down long enough to really read at that point. And I'll read the occasional Goosebumps book, or the scary stories to tell in the dark, which those are fun. Yeah, just the imagery alone. But my passion was video games at that point, right? And then we're talking about like little kid Jesse. All right. And I wanted to create video games. That's what I really wanted to do. I wanted to create worlds, but I was horrible at programming. I realized my efforts of doing that, and I would do various things back when like Duke Nukem 3D was a thing, and you know they used the build engine. I don't know how much you know about that, but I used to make levels for that. Mm-hmm. Would like invest time. So I mean, I did invest time into creative avenues, like game related, and in I guess pursuit to learning how to eventually create a game. But it never really, when it came to programming, I was like, I think I'm done. You know, maybe if I could go back and change things, maybe I would have done something different. But I like where I'm at now. I don't have any regrets about that. Yeah. But the reason why I chose horror and writing is because I still wanted to create worlds, right? I still wanted to create a story, create environments. But it's like, you know, I think it's gonna, because the thing I liked about, I guess the idea of game development, because I play a lot of games like Castlevania or Final Fantasy, things like that. It's like, I mean, the story behind it. I like the story behind it. I like how they, the characters that they put into it. So, I mean, if I could just work on that, and that's what I started to do, I would have binders full of all these characters that I have not yet used, very sci-fi things like alien frog people and stuff like that. Nice. It's just, I would create these worlds, and it's like, so I'd need to find an avenue where I could express this. And my aunt was an avid reader, an avid writer, and I would talk to her as like, I want to learn, how to write and expose me. What should I read? That's at the point. So that's when I got into reading. That's when I got into Lovecraft. That's when I got into Stephen King. That's when I got into, actually beforehand, even then, I've read Stephen King every now and then. Like I was familiar with Firestarter and Carrie. Mm-hmm. And I was familiar with Anne Rice. I did read her every now and then, like Interview with a Vampire, and had a few of her books. Really, I got this books though because they're kind of every now and then Anne Rice puts some like perverted stuff, like little sexual things, even in the non-erotic, because I know she writes erotica or whatever under a pen name, but yeah, I'd read that at school for like class assignments to see what I get away with. It was funny.
Pretty good.
But so I know there's a long story, but what I'm trying to say is so that's how I went from, I mean, that explains why my passion is video games and why I still do a lot of that, but also why I do Deadman's Tome, because it's like, look, I got into writing, got into reading. And then for that pursuit. So once after I spoke with my aunt, I got sort of exploring, the process of writing and what to do with that. I was like, okay, so I'm working on these short stories. Where can I send them to? I got the Writer's Digest. I think 2006, I think it was 2004, 2006. I don't know which one, but what I recall was that a lot of the places to send stories to were like either defunct or not taking submissions. You would send something and never hear anything. You might get rejections. Rejections were nice. At least I'm getting something, right?
Right.
But over time, it's like, man, all these places seem to be like, closing up, or something seems. I was like, why is this happening? And I felt like maybe I could help. I mean, I don't know everything I probably need to, but I'm sure I could figure it out as I go. And that's kind of how it started. When Deadman's Tome started, it started out as an e-zine, back when e-zines didn't really know what they were supposed to be. And I say that because this was before Kindle. This was, around that time. It was literally supposed to look like a digital magazine. And the very first issues were like crap. They were so crap. They were like a PDF, a straight up PDF that didn't have any elaborate artwork or anything, because I was just like, just work with what I had at the time. But it started from there. I got people sending in stories, put up the stories for the love of that point, during that point. So, which means I didn't pay. It's just, got exposure. It is what it is. But over time, I was like, eventually got to where I could pay a little bit here and there. Still wasn't making any money on it. But that kind of explains, I guess, the birth of Deadman's Tome. And the podcast part of it came a little bit later, because I was like, okay, how do I, who was it? There was a few around that time. There was a podcast or a few people that I was talking to related to other things, like, because I was into, and stop me if you have any questions, feel free to ask. But I feel like I'm going on a tangent here.
No, you're good.
But because around this time, I was also exploring other creative avenues, like, what do you call it? Filmmaking, you can call it filmmaking, I guess.
Yeah, I did a web series. Your short films.
Yeah, I did a web series called Zombie Hunter for a little while. And it was short-lived. It was fun, though. It was the reason why I started on YouTube was to create Zombie Hunter shorts. And they were like, 5-minute, 10-minute long little episodes of like this redneck named Nathan Green. He'd run around hunting zombies, just that stuff. So through that creative process, I came cross paths with some people who had podcasts, and I liked what they were doing with it. I can't remember the name of this podcast though, and it was very cool. But anyway, but yeah, that's what gave me the idea to do it. I didn't really know what to do at the time. If I was just going to read a story, if I was going to what am I going to talk about? And this, keep in mind, at this point, I had no idea that there was any drama in the writing world. I had no idea what anyone else was doing, because I was just trying to make things make sense as I was working on it. So that's how it started. But I think the Deadman's Tome podcast really didn't really start making sense until actually a few years ago. I think 2016, 2017 is like when the Deadman's Tome podcast actually started, getting some, if you want to call it momentum, because at that point I was like, I'll tell you what, I'll reach out to the people, the authors in the magazine and the e-zines or the publications that were out there, invite them on the show, and we'll talk about what they do, or who they are, what they do, and go from there. Just explore them. And I guess the main podcast I listened to at that time, they gave me this, creative, ideas, if you will, was like the Joe Rogan Experience.
Right.
I'm not sure if you remember that podcast.
It's
only number one.
Yeah, he's like blown up the last couple of years.
First off, it's weird how fate works sometimes, because one of my favorite shows growing up was news radio. Like, I would stay up late just to watch news radio.
That was a funny show.
Dude, I would tape it. I was an avid fan. I would quote Phil Hartman, Bill McNeil. I would quote him. I was all into that show. And the Joe Rogan on that show, like, he had some funny bits. I had dude, you don't know where time's gonna lead, right? Like, man, let's do a podcast with this guy hosting it.
Yeah.
Funny how that works. And then he kind of like influenced me in this way or that way. But what I like about his show is that it's pretty much just a conversation. Kind of like what you guys do too. I think a lot of people do that on their podcasts. Just have a conversation. Let's just talk, right?
Right.
And except you guys are doing good. Normally, if it was me, I'd probably be like, wait, tell me about this. Wait, tell me about that. But you guys are doing good. You guys are good. I will go ahead and admit it. I'm pretty bad at it when it comes to like interjecting, interrupting, I guess you say. But it's, just want to talk to the guests and kind of figure out who they are, what they do, and go from there. So.
Well, that's what I like about your show. It's very, you're very good about getting the guests relaxed and talking.
Yeah.
A lot of hosts, it's like pulling teeth with some people. I mean, everybody's very relaxed on your show, very easy. Even I notice.
They should be.
When I'm on there, it's just fun. Everybody's just there to have fun and talk, and there's just stress-free environment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, there's been a few guests, not saying any names, it happens. Sometimes it's like their first time, and it's like, they kind of tell me, like, this is my first time going, I don't know what to say. It's like, all right. And I'm sure, have you ever had guests, not naming names or anything, but we're like, maybe ask a question, it's very open-ended, but if they give like the very short response, it's like, oh, okay, well, let's dig into this, dig into that. It's just about how to ask a question that gets people talking about what they want to talk about.
Right.
Yeah.
I know I've come across that. It's a little, I mean, and it's something I'm gonna have to figure out for one of my other podcasts, because it's creating positive change. It's going to be talking about things you don't necessarily want to talk about, but
like bad things, or
yeah, I mean, that's the point of the show, is like necessarily to like kind of talk about things that maybe like a trauma, to talk about it, get it out,
wow.
like sort of like it's almost like a therapy type thing where you talk about it and then get help.
That's
like,
pretty deep, yeah.
So
yeah, I'm very interested when that comes out. But I can't imagine that. It's definitely not talking about what's your opinion on the new Stranger Things season.
Yeah,
it's very different.
Yeah, it's like, did you like this or not? And it's like, well, when I was 12.
Yeah.
And you guys listen to the Deadman Jr podcast. You know that sometimes some episodes are very fun, and we're talking about something fun. But sometimes, because it's not scripted, and the questions aren't really pre-planned, and we don't know what the response is going to be because it's live, and pretty much what they say is in stone.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to go back and edit it. I'm not. It is what it is. But it's like, sometimes episodes go. I think it like maybe I do plan for it to be funny, but maybe it goes like a little bit more emotional. But I just
serious turn.
Yeah, and I just go with it.
Yeah.
There's times where I'm like, because it's a live show, and I want to be an entertainer at the same time, but also be genuine with the guests. And if there's something that comes up and it's very heartfelt, it's like, okay, well, let's talk about that. I mean, I don't mind having a quote Dr. Phil moment if you don't. I won't. Right. I probably wouldn't word it that way. Maybe if it's like bring some levity to it. But
well, I remember in one particular episode of the Deadman Jr podcast when that was happening, and it was supposed to be like a fun, light, jokey episode, and then all of a sudden, he asked a question, like sort of like, how'd you get to this point in your life? And then all of a sudden, boom, the truth hits, and it was like deep into like trauma and childhood trauma and
I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, and like there are other people that were on the show that were still making jokes, and you were like being serious, and it's like, ooh, this is all of a sudden very uncomfortable.
Yeah. I remember that night.
Yeah.
It's what I think it is. I'm not saying names.
I'm not going to say names either. But
By the way, we all grow, right? We're all humans. We all develop. I know Deadman's Tome has been, whether you want to say good or bad, about sometimes dipping into, I guess, talking about other people's drama, talking about other people's stuff, what they do. It happens. Trying to be better about that. You take it for what some people might be like, oh, Mr. Deadman's just an entertainer. He's a shock jock. It's fine. Like he doesn't mean it. But it's like, look, like the drama stuff, that clickbait stuff, like it's there's a draw towards it because it's easy and people do like it, but it's like you do feel greasy doing it, right?
Yeah.
And I think the rule that I have to make sure I follow is just not your own. It's okay to bring on someone from some publishing house who's having a bad time. Maybe people are going at them for something that they misunderstood, which I've done that before. And they talked about their story, their experience, and they try to explain themselves. So that way those are trying to like go at them, maybe have a better understanding of what's going on. Okay. But just keep your own personal dirty laundry. Like keep that stuff on the DL or whatever,
Yeah. You recently did an episode about that. I remember about how you kind of made a personal commitment, like out in the open, about kind of keeping, keeping your agenda more, more for the show and less, trying to keep it, about people's personal business and stuff.
Keep it more positive.
I know. You actually did bring it up, and it was very heartfelt. I appreciate that.
Yeah, keep it more positive, And there's another stream that I might invest time in later on called Just Mr. Deadman Live. That I might be the shock jock all the way, whatever, if I want to do that stuff. But for the Deadman's Tome podcast, I just want to have fun, talk about fun stuff. If it's going to be heartfelt, that's okay. That happens. And if there's some sort of controversy to talk about, like that's going on, maybe a publisher's not paying, but sometimes, you got to be careful about that because sometimes it's like an author saying he's not being paid or she's not being paid when maybe there's something else going on there. Maybe because not everyone gets the full story, right?
Right.
Yeah, but you're really good about your detective work. You take your time before you even say anything. I've noticed.
I mean, I want them to at least, like, let's say in that controversial moment, let's say something like that, at least have the people, invite the people to come onto the show to talk about their side of it, maybe, and be careful about pointing fingers because it happens. But anyway,
yeah.
But like you said, going back to you have a couple different branches in house under Deadman. You got your publishing house. You have Deadman podcast. You have Deadman Live, but you also have a Deadman Gaming.
The stream that I'm horrible at branding. Yes, is it DT Gaming? Is it Game and Chill? What is it?
Yeah, we need some votes. I know you were looking for it. If anybody wants to help with this, help Jesse pick a name.
I know, right? And I had some other bigger YouTubers that are involved in some other stuff. I'm not going to bring that. Another, I guess, a bigger YouTuber just suggesting, why don't you just put the topic in the stream and just talk about something while you're just gaming? It's like, oh, okay, maybe I can just do that. I don't know. Maybe I don't have to brand it.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's just that's might not be a bad idea.
I thought that was the trick that Twitch people did.
The branding thing, right? Oh, wait, put the topic in there?
Well, no, because like Twitch streamers, they have to do certain things. They have to be playing a game, otherwise they get like kicked or something like that. Oh. That was my understanding of how that works.
Oh, it seems real lax now. They don't have to be playing jack shit. They could just be chatting. They literally have a category called just chatting.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought I seem to recall there was some rules.
As long as there's no feet.
Yeah.
I seem to recall there was some rules at one point on Twitch that you had to be gaming, and so that sounds like it was like a Twitch principle to me, at least.
Yeah.
I mean, you play a game while you're talking about things.
I don't know if you want to give me started on Twitch, man. I don't know. So on the side, what I do sometimes occasionally is I upload videos on YouTube where I talk about, I guess you want to call it like news-related stuff, drama-related stuff, gaming-related stuff, just stuff I'm into, right? And a lot of it's been Twitch because, when someone gets banned off Twitch for wearing something suggestive or an accidental nude slip, and it's like, what are y'all doing over there? Come on now.
Yeah.
Guys.
The one about the girl dressed as Chun-Li. That was the one that bothered me. It wasn't even like a provocative Chun-Li outfit.
Oh no! And they were trying to say that it was. There were people on Twitter saying that. Oh, but look at the way she was sitting in the chair and angling the camera to her crotch. Are you kidding me? Yeah. Are you kidding me?
Like, if you look at the photo, she specifically said, and you could tell she was like, I specifically bought like a bigger size and everything, so the slit wouldn't be on the side, like Chun-Li's trademark slit on the side of her skirt, like that wouldn't be showing. It would just be like a really big skirt and everything. And I was just like, wow, they still got her anyway.
And then you have what's her name? Amarant, the chick who accidentally exposed her, female parts. I don't think that was an accident. That's my personal opinion.
Accidentally? Yeah, I don't know about that.
I don't think it was an accident. If you look at her Patreon numbers, I think there's a reason why she did that. It looks like she was dropping patrons, and she did that. And I'm sure she got right back up there because the SEO for her name was pretty much her name and band and nude. Wait. Every 13, 14-year-old boy is gonna be like, wait. Amaranta's nude? Finally, she's nude? Oh man, let me go see this.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a whole other thing.
Twitch is having an identity crisis right now anyway.
Yeah. And YouTube is too. I don't know. Honestly, I don't really feel confident about YouTube. I don't feel confident about Twitch. I have no idea where I should invest time in at this point.
Because didn't YouTube, they're starting a verified thing too, like Twitter.
They're doing that. They're doing something funny about that. And I heard just moments ago, I looked at my phone and saying someone was talking about that they're, I guess, going back on that. So I don't know if they're changing it or what, but I don't know, man. See,
crazy times.
There's something else that happened to the Deadman Jr podcast, which I think put a dent in its, I guess, history, if you will. If you go to the podcast feed, it's missing a lot of episodes. Okay, there was a part where I transitioned from just being on Spreaker and iTunes, and I think it was on iHeartRadio. There's a part where I transitioned from doing that to doing that and also being on YouTube. But then I thought, well, wait a second. I could just create my own podcast feed and manage that and do that myself without paying Spreaker the $20 a month to, host.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that, which meant that I downloaded a lot of episodes and put the episodes up there. Okay. But somewhere along the way, some episodes got lost. All right. But then I ran into a problem. The problem was, you could upload the episodes on your website, let's say WordPress or whatever, but you're eventually going to have to pay more for, space.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And the amount that you're paying for space is actually more than what you're paying for just for the host for one of those podcast hosting services.
Right.
So it's like, what is bullshit? I might as well just go right the back.
Yeah, that or just buy your own side. Just pay the side fees.
Yeah, Deadman's Tome actually used to have a back when this all started, back before WordPress and all that. It was actually a website, and I would use Dreamweaver to update everything, and that was all.
Dreamweaver is such a good tool. I love that thing.
That brings me back. A lot of the times, a lot of the moments during those days are gone now. But some of what's interesting, some authors that I've run across, I've seen them doing pretty well. Started at Deadman. So I don't know if they started, but they had they were there. Mercedes Yardley. Yeah, I can say that. Mercedes Yardley, she's doing pretty good for herself. She's a member. She's pretty big, doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Ty Johnson, another guy. I think he's doing all right for himself. But I actually think Deadman's Tome has actually had a pretty good luck getting, creative talent. Alessandro Martinez, pretty good guy. Never had a problem with his work. But I could go on,
I think it's good. You've had that experience of you're honest with the people that you pick up. You pay them directly, and you promote them. And it's like you don't turn your nose at anybody with that. Like, oh, you don't have experience, get out. You're not printed in this and that and the other, get out. Like you're just like a Fodder Realm. It's like these young and up and comers, these people that want to try and be writers, they need places like that,
right?
To try and be showcased.
That's right. I mean, Deadman's Tome the Deadman's Tome publication is not really for, like, let's say if you're like a pro writer, you're a pro author, you're not really going to be going there. It's, you know what though? But the way it is now is so much better than what it was back then, because now I'm actually doing more, paying more. Now it's not because Deadman's Tome is making money. It's getting better, but I have some projects that are pretty much kind of like, I guess, a loss lender, and they're kind of draining, like charity projects, like the Deep Fried Horror, which is a free to read easing that was supposed to be covered for through advertising, but it's hard to get sponsors for something that's like horror related, I guess. And so that's kind of a loss lender, because I'm paying the authors like $10 a story, sometimes pay for the cover if we get a quality cover. But with Deep Fried Horror, the whole idea is like it's this dirty, gritty, greasy serving of horror. So it's kind of like, I can go kind of cheap on the cover. That's fine. It fits the bill. But the other projects, like I try to more like, I guess bi-monthly anthologies, because it's hard to make it every month because my submission calls lately have been kind of weird, kind of obscure, right? It had Satan is Your Friend, had Bikers versus the Undead, had what was it? What's the other one?
9 versus Monsters.
9 versus Monsters.
Yeah.
Probably have to bleep that word out. Which one? Let's see. Man, it's just obscure submission calls, but I want to stand out. I want to stand out and put stuff out there that no one else is putting out there. And be able to pay a little bit more. So I do token payments now. And yeah, I'm keeping track of the royalties that these anthologies make. Sometimes they don't make much of anything, so I can't pay much of anything. Sometimes they do. Okay. Like the Ancient Ones, it made pretty good money. Ancient Ones 2, not so much. The sequel didn't do that well, but it is what it is. What can I say?
When you're doing I love the idea that you're doing now. You got a project going for the first comic
Yes. Now we're going to have to do a new GoFundMe or something for that, because I didn't really promote that campaign as much as I should have. There's some things I should have researched maybe beforehand, but I think the next time we do that, it'll go a little bit better. Maybe ask for a smaller amount. But the other thing is, look, man, I've never been one to ask for money, not for much of anything. And the streams I do where people can donate, I guess they can donate what they want, and people do, and I totally respect that. Thank you so much. But I've never been one to ask for money, right? Maybe it's just the way I was raised, but my parents were always like, man, if you want money, you got to work, you got to earn it. Right. And that's been ingrained in me since I was a kid. So that part of the reason of promoting the GoFundMe, or I think was Indiegogo, was I still have that, like, that's, I guess, I don't know, the outlook on, like, if you want to call it e-bagging. Some people look, and I'm not saying that in shame. Like, if you raise money for a project, you do. Okay. It's just, I'm just saying it's something I have to deal with, So I think what I'll probably end up doing with the comic book project is raising the money myself and then going that way.
I wouldn't even say it's e-begging. I think when you put a product out like that, you just have to get it. You have to get the attention of it. I don't think it's about e-begging. I think it's about putting it. Now, I know there's some people that do. They straight up do.
Yeah.
But there are some products where it's just like, hey, I have this product.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make it regardless, but I could get it out to you way easier if you help me with the cost of it. And if you help me with the cost of it, you'll get it. You're gonna get a copy of it anyway. And if you donate more, I can give you all these extras and stuff.
Right. And there's truth to that. I mean, it is in a way pre-ordering an issue of the comic. You never think about it that way.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which I don't think it's Damascus. I'm not even sure how to say his name.
Mincemeyer, yeah.
Yeah,
man,
it's really good artwork.
Talented motherfucker, I swear it. Like that kid.
He's been doing the last few anthology artwork covers, right?
Pretty much dedicated, yeah. He's been doing a lot of art for Deadman's Tome. We have a new mascot lately. I know, Bo, you did the first mascot, the sort of the zombie.
Oh, yeah.
I still use that on occasion, here and there. I kind of put it on the back of the books or as a logo. But yeah, I got a new mascot. Evening Star is her name.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But he's a really good artist.
Girl, yeah. And yeah, he's been doing the covers, and the covers, they have that. I was like, okay, I found an artist who's willing to hang with me. I think if we did a test to see who's the most demented and deranged, I think it might be him. I don't know.
For sure.
And
yeah, he's been in a Aquatic Realm. I forgot.
Yeah,
he's done some stuff.
Yeah, he's out there. He's good though. Hell, this be for October Blitz, we do an episode every single day, and so we already pre-recorded some episodes for Sanity. Okay, and he put me on the spot on the test, and man, I barely passed that test. It was horrible. After that, I'm like, how can I call myself a horror guy? It had to do with horror movie quotes. Okay, so when that episode comes out, you will see me sweat. Oh God!
I love quizzes. I love horror. I love that last one you guys did. It was like horror. What was it? Death Jeopardy.
Oh yeah.
Dead People Jeopardy. Mm-hmm. Dead Celebrity Jeopardy. That's what it was.
Oh.
Damascus is an idea, man. Like, he's
as
great.
Long as you still had potent potables, I think you can pull it off.
Yeah. Well, I hate to put you under pressure again, but I have a quiz for you as well.
Oh, do you now?
Yeah,
okay.
But this one's more up your alley. This one has to do with horror video games.
Okay.
Yeah, so it should be more fun. Hopefully.
I've never played a horror video game in my life. I just only pretend, guys. What's a video game?
You just put up footage of it. You just react to it.
You just hold the controller.
Look at me.
Like dads do across America with their kids. Here, you hold this controller without batteries and you can play. Uh-huh.
He's just holding a stapler under the camera.
All right.
I'm going to give you an item from a game, a notable item. You have to tell me what game it is.
Okay.
They'll escalate. I've tried to put them in an order I think is easiest to hardest. Hopefully I'll start you off easy. Vampire Killer.
Okay. Gee, I don't know. Castlevania?
Yeah, that's correct. That's the whip from Castlevania. So there's your point.
All right.
Try to start you off easy. Let's move up a notch. The BFG.
That's Doom?
That's correct. That's the gun from Doom.
The big gun from Doom.
Yeah. Ink Ribbon.
Oh, that's Resident Evil.
That's Resident Evil, correct.
Yeah, that's the saves.
This next one I wrote, and I realized there's just actually two possible answers. I intended one, but I'll take either one. A vacuum.
A vacuum?
A vacuum.
Vacuum. Okay. Wait. Hold on. Game where you're sucking the dead. Well, hold on here. I mean, there's technically a vacuum in Sweet Home for NES. I don't know if that counts, but
no, that's what I was looking for. So you'll get the point, but you got a chance for a bonus point, I guess, if you want to name the other game.
Was it Silent Hill? Is there a vacuum in there?
There actually might be. I don't know. Silent Hill's weird enough to have one. But when I wrote the answer, I was like, oh, wait, he probably could say Luigi's Mansion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Sweet Home was actually what I was looking for. You got it.
Yeah, Sweet Home. There's actually a character. His job is to suck things up.
Yeah, you got it.
Man, I played the game the other day. I cannot beat that game.
I would have said Ghostbusters of some variety.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't think it was technically a vacuum, but still.
A sweater.
Okay, a sweater. You mean Friday the 13th?
Very good, man. You're on a roll. Flawless run so far.
Okay.
A weed whacker.
Oh, that would be Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
Very good, sir.
Very good game. Man, that game stands up. It passed the time test. What is that test? Test of time. It's a game that you can play. It's still fun. I mean, people can still play that. It's still fun.
I'm really surprised A, they haven't tried to make another sequel to it, or B, they haven't tried to turn that thing into a movie.
It would be so easy to do. It's too easy. They just don't know what to do with it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. A 9-inch nail gun.
Quake.
Very good, sir. Original Quake. All right. These are your top tier ones. These are the hard ones.
All right. Here we go.
Last three.
Oh, man.
Okay. A ruby, sapphire, and emerald effigies.
Wait. Ruby, sapphire, and what?
Emerald effigies. A ruby effigy, a sapphire effigy, and an emerald effigy are from what game?
Okay, hold on. Wait. Is this... Oh, okay. Wait a second. Oh, man. Well, it is the game with Ruby Sapphire. It's Pokemon. Pokemon. There we go. That's what it is.
Scariest game. That is
Are you kidding me?
That is incorrect, sir. Eternal Darkness.
Wait. Hold on. That was what's coming to mind, but that's what they call them? Wait. Oh, that's what they did call them. Okay.
To use that sword, I guess.
Yeah. Hold on. Man, now I feel bad about messing that one up because that was actually one of my favorite games for GameCube, and I played that all the...
I know, that's why I looked it up. I wanted to test you.
God, I like going back and you can play like there was a part in the game, like in the very beginning, right, where you could select either the red, the blue, or the green, and it kind of changes things throughout, but not. I guess kind of here and there it does, but I guess
that was the game that caused you make you think like your game was messed up and all that stuff.
Yeah, very trippy. I can't believe I botched that one. Because when you say there's colors, I'm like, man, it was Final Fantasy.
The Terror Mask.
The terror. Oh wait, Splatterhouse.
Splatterhouse, correct.
See, I got that one.
Yeah, you can. All right. You can still pull a 9 out of 10.
Okay.
Which is you still have an 8 out of 10, which is very respectable. A can of Pepsi.
A what?
A can of Pepsi.
A can of Pepsi.
A can of Pepsi.
A can of Pepsi. Oh, right.
Very specific. The hint I'll give you, it's a game, type of games that use very specific items like that.
Oh my gosh, I know it.
Wait. Huh, this is like a very specific item. Can of Pepsi.
No,
it's wouldn't. Not. Is it like a text a click, or one of those click adventure games?
Maybe. Maybe you're on the right path, sir. Maybe I would keep following it.
Oh man, it's not like Maniac Mansion or something like that, is it?
That's it. Correct.
Yes.
That is.
So you knew it, Dustin?
Yeah.
9 out of 10, sir.
Man, but that one, I guess, it just seems so like.
Still got it.
Dude, that game scared the living crap out of me when I was a kid. Especially when that old lady would just pop up and start chasing you across the room, and then you'd have to run across try to climb up the ladder before she got you. Oh gosh.
Very respectful 9 out of 10, sir.
For me, playing the game the first few times was like trying to figure out how to play it. I'm like, I'm doing what now?
Yeah, you'd end up in jail, and all you had was like pocket lint and bones, and it's like, what do I do now?
All those Lucasfilm, like all those games, they made this like what was it? Escape from Monkey Island. All this, they're so cryptic.
Oh, what was the other one? Full Throttle. That was the other one.
Yeah.
I only played the demo of that because I had a demo disc with a bunch of interesting games for PC, and Full Throttle was one of them. It always ended after you got the ramp. You got the ramp and you try to you jump across. I was like, man, I don't think he makes it. And that's it. Just cuts off. I never played the full game. That's it. But it's a cool game.
So I want to say besides Jeremy with the Ninja Turtle quiz, I want to say JC is like the second best quiz taker on the show.
Yeah.
Well,
and Liam did insane with the hair quiz.
Oh, that hair quiz, man. I still don't understand how he did that.
Y'all did a hair quiz on, what was the actor?
Yeah, Van Damme.
Van Damme, that's right.
He was able to pick a Van Damme movie just by the haircut.
Oh, shit, it's hard.
It
was.
He pulled it off. Because he kept, for years, he's like, I could do it. And he didn't know I was going to spring it on him. He didn't know I was going to have a podcast one day.
Well, Street Fighter is easy, right? Because he would be wearing the hat.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I didn't know. I didn't do the hat, though. I didn't do hat. Yeah.
Mm.
And then I specifically photoshopped out of the faces, everything.
So it was only just the hair. When he said he was doing it, I was expecting like a head, and then he sent me the key, and it's just floating hair with numbers, and I'm like, what the hell is this?
Mm-hmm. Everybody's like, he won't be able to do it. And then even with Liam, he's like, I don't think I'll be able to do this. I don't know, man. And then he sit there and he got like what, 8 out of 12 or something like that.
Something crazy. It was
crazy. Yeah, it was stupid. They had like Cyborg or something was one he didn't miss because they were just so close.
Yeah.
But I commend you, sir. You get you definitely know your hard video game items.
Oh, thank you.
Well, we got a surprise for. We got like a big surprise for, I guess, our listeners. With this, our show is going to end, but it's not the end of our discussion because we're doing a big crossover. We're doing a big crossover event.
Crossover. Talk about video games, and Tammy G's going to hop on. She says, "Give me 5." So I might have to explain what video games are to her because she was probably like the popular chick in school. So gotta kind of explain what video games are.
So what we're going to do, links in the description for Jesse's channel and his site and everything, but also the link to the episode to continue listening to us on Jesse's show.
That's right.
So Dustin, carry us out.
All right, so for this episode, I've been Dustin.
I've been Bo.
Have a good one and go listen to us on Jesse's podcast.
Yeah, see you there, guys.
All right.
Boom.